Once again, we send off my war rig to bring back gasoline from Gastown and bullets from the bullet farm. Once again, I salute my Imperator Furiosa, and I salute my Half-Life Warboys, who will ride with me eternal on the highways of Valhalla.
Welcome to Kermode Uncut. Mad Max Fury Road is making a brief return to UK cinemas in the so-called black and chrome version. This is a black and white version of the film that people have been talking about very, very enthusiastically for quite a long time. Apparently the inspiration for it came quite accidentally. George Miller said some time ago that they made a cheap slash dupe of the film, which was in black and white, for the composer. And he looked at it and he said something about it seemed more authentic and elemental. So I asked the colorist, can I see some scenes in black and white with quite a bit of contrast? They look great. So then I said to the guys at Warner's, can we put a black and white version on the DVD? Now the black and white version has been really well received. People really, really like it. I'm going to go and see it projected because I want to see it on the big screen. But it did make me start thinking about films which have been released in color and black and white. Famously, The Mist, the Frank Darabont movie, always been described by Darabont as being intended to be in black and white. The black and white version is actually the version which the purists really like. There's something about it which fits that sort of strange throwback feel. And also, The Mist is such a dark film. It's a film with one of the grimmest endings of a horror movie I've seen recently. The black and white really works well. Now, whenever you think about films that go from black and white to colour, obviously you start thinking about The Wizard of Oz. It opens in black and white, and then when it gets into Oz, it goes into colour. And if you're a Rocky Horror fan, you'll know that that was the way they had originally planned Rocky Horror, that the opening section would be in black and white, and then when Frank arrives, everything goes into full colour. And then, of course, that was inverted in A Matter of Life and Death, which is a film which takes place probably on Earth and in heaven. And it's the Earth sequences that are in colour and the heaven sequences that are in black and white. It's a very, very clever inversion. People would think of it maybe the other way around, that maybe the heavenly scene should be in colour. But no, those heavenly fantasy sequences are in black and white, and it's down on Earth that we get the colour. And then I started thinking about Nebraska. See, I remember interviewing Alexander Payne about Nebraska, which is a beautiful film that looks like it's shot on really grainy 16mm black and white. Of course, it's not. It's shot on very high definition digital, and it's then graded to look like sort of grainy black and white. But that also meant that there was a colour version of it available. And when the film started playing on some streaming services, Alexander Payne was asked, can we see the colour version? And then people started watching it in colour. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the idea of watching Nebraska in colour is completely nuts. I mean, it was designed to be in black and white. It just happened to be filmed in a format which enabled it to be done in colour. And then, of course, there are the awful examples of films which were made in black and white with no colour in them at all, which have then been colorized. I mean, think of those atrocious Laurel and Hardy colorizations. Elvis Costello once famously said, and I've repeated this before, that colorized films look like playing a black and white film on a television on which you have allowed a child to scribble with some crayons. So my question to you is this: have you seen Mad Max Black and Chrome, the black and white version? What did you think of it? Did you see the colour version? Did you think it's somehow better? Do you think it somehow improves? I mean, as it turns out, the director thinks that this is the better version, the preferable version. This is the version that he thinks stands up most excitingly. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm slightly sceptical because I do like the colour palette of Mad Max as we have it. But I also love monochrome films. I love David Lynch's use of monochrome in Eraserhead and The Elephant Man. I think when it's used properly, it's a wonderful art form. So, did you see it? Did you like it? And what's the best comparison you can think of between a film that you've seen in colour and in black and white? And what was the change? What was the difference? I mean, is it profound? Or is it just entirely stylistic? Is it all just aesthetics? Or is there something deeper going on? Let me know.